Why Suicides? Audio 1. Most people find their lives purposeless, wasted, and worthless. That is why, with an ordinary illness or some slightly unfavorable situation, the individual prays for an end to his life. In the opinion of one psychologist, every person thinks of committing suicide more than once in his life. It is a different thing that he does not develop enough courage to end his life. Even then, some impulsive persons commit suicide because of petty reason, like failing an examination, losing a job, quarrels in the family, or defeat in a court of law. The number of people committing suicide because of such reasons is on the increase. Why do people commit suicide? Psychologists give various reasons to this as a question. Some people say that a man gets so much frightened on seeing disappointing atmosphere around him that he does not find any solution except this. According to some psychiatrists, people with violent tendencies who are unable to express them destroy themselves by these tendencies. Some people find themselves so much lonely and helpless that they find no benefit in living and they think, why not commit suicide? After all, what is there in life? Some persons think of committing suicide during an emotional excitement and prepare a plan for suicide during such condition. The main reason for suicides is said to be depression due to any reason, whether due to physical illness or failure in examination, love, or competition. A tendency of revenge is also said to be behind suicides. According to this opinion, some member of the family commits suicide to teach a lesson to other members. Some people commit suicide because of a burden of feeling guilty since they are unable to find a solution to get rid of guilty feelings. Many others commit suicide because they are fed up of old age, rejection by spouse, unemployment, and court cases. The reason for suicide is the experience of worthlessness of this life. It is also true that each person, not just once, but many times, thinks of his life worthless, many times a burden. To free himself from this burden, the person thinks of self-destruction. The question arises, is life so much worthless that by disappointment in small matters, one should think of ending it? If a self-analysis is made seriously, it will be found that every person finds many times that his life is worthless and a burden. Whatever the reason, but the worthlessness of life is felt with such intensity that by ending it, no difference is felt. Knowingly or unknowingly, in every person's mind, there is a feeling of disappointment, sadness, and lack of worth regarding his life, and this is expressed from time to time in various ways. Sometimes as sadness because of lack of success, sometimes as irritation due to heavy work, or sometimes as inconsistent conduct with others. All these negative sentiments are concealed expressions of feeling worthless. There is another kind of life, like a flower which keeps on spreading its fragrance all around from the time it flowers forth till it falls to the ground. Life is like a river which keeps flowing from its source to its merger into the sea. That the feeling of worthlessness of life gives rise to the wish for suicide is evident from the fact that man wants to keep only useful things which are worth keeping. Nobody likes to keep worthless dirt with him. Therefore, when life is found worthless, it is but natural that man tends to destroy rather than save it. There may be some connecting fiber which because of attachment or infatuation may save him from rash acts, but when such a connection breaks down, then the desire for self-destruction becomes intense. This desire becomes fulfilled upon gathering enough courage, otherwise there's only wish in the individual. Many have found life's fulfillment in collecting wealth, but even wealthy persons have been found committing suicide. Many people have tried to make successful lives through fame, reputation, and renown. It has been found that even after success in this direction, they are not satisfied. Some think that life becomes worth through scholarship and knowledge, but many profound scholars and knowledgeable people and scientists have been found committing suicide. These types of successes create an illusion of success, but do not give a meaningful life. If life became meaningful with these, then big scholars, wealthy, famous people, leaders, and knowledgeable people would not be seen dejected, disappointed, and unhappy. What makes life meaningful? With a little thinking, it becomes clear that man's own soul is part of a vast universe. Man's soul, bound within the body, is eager to meet the vast sea of vitality pervading the universe. Whoever has understood this eagerness made the gesture of dissolving one's selfish interests in the vast interests of the universe. They have never been found to be disappointed, nor is a description found of such person, who, having accepted this direction, has ever committed suicide. Just as a drop of water merges into the river and becomes meaningful, similarly man also, by breaking away from the hold of his wretched ego and merging into the vast creation, becomes meaningful and fulfilled. Then the question of thinking about committing suicide does not arise at all. Weakness is also a type of unforgivable sin which gives rise to impulsive sentiments and ultimately to diseases. It is natural for those without strength to feel hopeless and sad, but nature does not consider lack of strength as some disease or helpless and pitiable condition. Sages with the strength of knowledge have called weakness as a sin, for which the punishment has to be suffered in all spheres. When every particle of creation inspires you for gathering strength and the facilities for this are also available everywhere, then why should you remain weak because of laziness and inaction? Weakness is not a condition, but a result of laziness and lack of action. For this reason, whatever it be the type of weakness, whether physical, mental, intellectual, or spiritual, the person will have to bear unfavorable results of effort in the related field. A weak person is not able to take proper advantage of his natural rights. The effect of nature's organization always works against him, and the rules and organization which gives benefits to the strong, the same prove injurious for him. For such an individual, song, music, entertainment, facilities, money, and wealth, all of these are no use to the extent that he is not able to sleep peacefully. It is known that the reason for ill health is weakness. Bacteria and other matter which can produce ill health cannot remain even for a second in a strong and well-nourished body. The moment they enter, the body's vital resistance power destroys them. How is this possible for a weak person? From an intellectual view, all that is best and beautiful is included in the literature. The advice and experience of pleasant sweetness, love, and beauty can be had through the medium of literature. If unfortunately some person is a victim of intellectual weakness, then the incomparable knowledge and the treasure of joy in this world has no value for him. Blind and deaf people are able to enjoy literature by hearing and reading literature, but mentally retarded people remain deprived of this joy despite enjoying good health. People with mental strength are able to go ahead even in adverse conditions. As against that, mentally weak persons become disappointed and stupefied in similar conditions. Where is it possible for spiritually weak persons to make any kind of progress in the spiritual field? For them, that joy and peace which a spiritually fulfilled person gets and makes his life successful is not only available but impossible. The elements like water, air, heat, open brightness never harm anyone, but they become fatal for a weak person. It is also said in Sanskrit language, for a weak person, even deities are fatal. As a result of lack of alertness, laziness, malingering, people are not able to pay any attention to the supreme requirements of life. Their own weaknesses grasp the contrary of effects of supportive powers. The elements which are helpful to strong persons become injurious for weak people. Not only the health and peace, but honor and reputation are also given to powerful people. Everyone looks in a cruel way at weak and feeble-minded persons. The existence of an emotional and weak person is insecure in every place and situation. No body becomes helpful in their development, and even God seems too averse to such a person. Even cruel death throws its cold arms around them first. The principle and rule in this life is the protection and development of the fittest. That is why in its organization, weak people have to face dangers and suffering at every step. One must accept the need for nourishing and maintaining strength for successful and secure life. Swami Vivekananda has written that first of all, one must develop strength. Developing and maintaining strength is the only path to progress. By this way, only one can go nearer to the soul and the supreme entity via God. Whatever the goal, it is achievable only by individual or collective power. Sudden success is not achievable in any field. For that purpose, one has to go on developing one's powers in constant effort. There is no doubt that all the things and attainments are achievable, but it is also true that for achieving them, worthiness is essential. Also is equally true that to protect them, development of powers is essential. Worthiness is created only by constant efforts. There is no scarcity of knowledge in this world, but there is scarcity of that intellectual capacity because of which we are not capable of attaining it. That capacity has to be developed by constant education. To develop worthiness and strength for success in any fields, only this rule applies. For this reason, weakness is considered a sin, which makes a person stray from the path and throws a person into the pit of difficulties. Weakness is considered a terrible punishment in the law of nature. To remove it, one will have to become worthy because only a strong person becomes successful in the battle of life. Such a person never becomes old because he always remains young at heart. Nutritious food is certainly essential for keeping the body healthy, but even more essential is the stability of mental condition. Nourishment gives energy and energy provides health. However, the essential source of energy is the brain, which provides not only the energy for digesting the food, but to keep all the organs of the body working in organized coordination. However, nourishing the food, it will not give any benefit if the mind is upset. On the contrary, when the mental condition is peaceful and balanced, health can be maintained even with meager, simple food. Constant mental exertion without interest causes dryness of the skin and other skin diseases. Similarly, at the time of anger, fury, and excitement, or during disappointment and dejection, the mental condition produces poisonous chemicals internally, and their effect is seen on the body. Although the effect is seen on the body, the symptoms are related to the condition of the mind. Lingering fear, frustration due to any event or situation are the two diseases conferred on man by modern culture or progress. Psychiatrists call them as depression and phobia. Such type of ill persons keep an attitude of resistance towards their familial and societal obligations. The main symptoms found in these patients is to become irritated at the drop of a pin and start weeping suddenly after becoming angry. Emotional tension also gets converted to physical pain. Headache, pain in the abdomen, pain in the joints, chest pain, pain in the waist are more because of mental reasons than physical ones. The root cause here is some worry, fear, anxiety about trouble in the future, or some unhappy memory of the past. This condition of the mind affects any organ of the body and manifests in the pain in that part. Many a time it has been seen that the doctor, after a complete medical checkup of the patient, is not able to find any reason for his improper health. But the patient experiences pain and illness, suffers, loses weight gradually, and becomes unfit to carry out ordinary work. Each work should be performed with full understanding, responsibility, eagerness, and sincerity. Laziness and malingering should not be allowed to enter there, and the stigma of avoiding it and slackness should be prevented. With all of this, it cannot be said with definiteness that what has been desired will happen. One should be ready for partial success or even failure, so that the mind remains composed. One must think that the world is not created for us only. There is a partnership of innumerable people in this world, and what we consider beneficial for us also may cause loss to others. For maintaining a balance in nature's creation, all have to be considered. If someone wins in a game, the other has to lose. This fact applies in the sequence of events also. One must constantly cultivate the practice of balanced, peaceful, steady, and hopeful attitude. All know the importance of having strong and beautiful body and desire to work for it. The supremacy of mental strength and cheerful appearance should be considered even more important.